Hi guys, welcome to the Great Southern Scrap Hop. I am participating in this hop with a bunch of really amazing other scrappy people who just can do amazing things. I am going to be working on these photos that you can see here. They are a few photos of me with my husband that we took just recently, and I really love them. They're really special, so I decided to do it kind of in this vertical sort of layout. I haven't really done this before, and so I had a lot of fun playing with it. These photos are going into my 2021 highlights journal. I make this journal for my husband and I to look through on New Year's Eve. We look through a highlights journal at the end of the year to see all of the highlights of the year that we've just had. So that's a really fun little tradition that we have, and I am working on some of the photos that I've got from this year. So I have, as you can see, laid out my photos in that vertical kind of strip, and I am just adding them onto some craft paper and then onto some pink tissue paper to just give a really nice layered look. Tissue paper often only rips in a certain direction nicely, but a little tip to help it rip easier in the other directions is just to grab a wet paintbrush and use the water to kind of direct where you want it to tear, and that makes it so much easier. I grabbed out my Crayola crayon things. These are really fun. They are water soluble, and I like to use them kind of as a watercolor. So I'm just using the inside of the tin just to put some pigment down on something, and then I grab my brush, and first off I just do a little test onto some other paper just to be sure that I actually like how it looks. So I am just having a little play with it here, and I do like that subtle kind of color that it gives. They're also metallic, which is really pretty because they just have a slight sort of sparkle to them. I found that my white one had broken off inside the lid, which was really frustrating. They are very soft. Honestly, they're very soft. They're like kind of like lipstick. They feel like lipstick when you are drawing with them. They're really soft, but really lovely to play with. So I am just going to go ahead and put it onto my cardstock that I have here now, because I had played around and picked out what colour I wanted, and I wanted to use the yellow and the pink, I decided. As you might have seen at the beginning of this video, there was a kind of has been really fun mood board sort of a thing that we were given by new people who I actually hadn't talked to before, and create this layout for this hop. So as you can see, I'm just laying down the watercolor, well, it's not watercolor, the water soluble crayons, and it's just a really light metallic-y kind of color in the background, and I really love how it turned out. I will definitely be using these in this way again. I am now grabbing out some house paint, like a test pot of house paint that I have, which is a metallic gold colour, and I'm just going to water it down and add it over the top, and it just adds an extra kind of glittery shine to the page, and it warms it up and just sort of adds some gold in, and I really like how this looks, and it does just really add a beautiful kind of subtle glittery effect to the paper. It's really beautiful. And it's so thin, so you can really barely sort of tell that the colour is on there. It just adds like a gold glitter to it, which looks really good. So it doesn't take away from the pink and yellow kind of in the background. It just is really subtle over the top, and I really like that about it. As you can see, I'm now pulling out some different bits and pieces that I think I can add to my page. I had not planned this out at all. I was just winging it, and I really was pleased with how it turned out. I have that really big punch that you saw there that has the X and O's. I got it really cheap on a clearance sale, and it's really cute. So but I haven't actually used it a lot, so it is nice to have a reason to use it. So this was a really fun spread to use it on. I have this old book. I am a junk journaler. If you haven't been following me for any length of time, I am a junk journal person, and so I love including book pages and all sorts of different bits and pieces into my spreads, and here is no different. I am adding this vintage illustration of a moth from a children's encyclopedia page that I had, and I just think it's so pretty. So I'm going to add that on, and I'm using this little bit of scrap plastic to lay these stickers on first so that I could just check that I liked the placement of them, and I could sort of adjust it and figure out exactly where I wanted it, without actually having to stick them straight down in the beginning without testing it out. I have this bit of dictionary page here that I'm also adding on just as another layer to go underneath my photos, and I think that looks really good. You barely see it. It's just a really tiny thin little piece that you can see out the side, and it just adds, like I said, an extra nice little layer to my spread. These little words here that says, "Don't forget that life is beautiful," have kind of a special meaning for us at the moment. Well, for me anyway. My husband and I have had struggles with infertility for the last 6 years, and this year we have finally decided that enough is enough, and we're not going to keep on battling that to try and have kids. We're going to try really hard to enjoy our life now and have fun and not worry about having kids, and just focus on us and having a good life as we are, and that we are a family just as we are. So I thought those words were really kind of meaningful to us at this point in time, so they really worked well with this spread. And I am just adding a little bit more yellow to my page by just doing a few little painty flicks over my page. As you can see, I just grabbed a little bit of scrap craft paper and put it over our photos and over the main elements there, because I didn't want to have a whole lot of paint covering up anything important like the words or our faces or anything. So I just used some paper to cover that up so that it stayed clean and safe. Now I've grabbed out my typewriter, as you can see, and I'm just typing my journaling up on here. I just type a really tiny bit of journaling, and I think I just say stopping for photos because the light was just right. It was like that beautiful golden hour, and we were driving home from the city, which is about an hour and a bit away from our house, and we were coming home and it was just so beautiful. So we decided we'd stop and take some photos because it really was a beautiful evening. I just decided I wanted to add a little bit of texture to this little journaling piece. So as you might have seen then, I just slightly scrunched it up a little bit, and I am layering it onto some really like pretty thin sheer, I don't even know what type of paper it is, like a wax paper kind of thing. It's really pretty, and I am just layering it onto that so that it just adds, another layer, another texture, and I really think that is a nice choice. I am all about the layers, like the scrappy layers of random bits of paper. I've got bins and bins of scrap paper book pages all sorts of things, and I love adding different layers in the background. And for my final texture on this page, I am going to add some little bits of fabric. So I have this little cute bundle of fabrics here that are just these tiny kind of like, I don't even know, maybe 1 or 2 inch squares. Like they're really just small little things. And I just grabbed this one that you can see here, and I thought I would add a little tab on the side, and I end up sort of just cutting a whole lot of little patches and gluing them on all over the place to add more texture to my page. I really love adding fabric onto my spreads. I really think that it adds such a great element of softness to a page. I really like fabric on my page, and these little bits were just perfect. So I added that little piece there onto that kind of cluster that I have going on that right hand side, and then I just sort of cut out a few little squares around the flowers and stick them on randomly kind of on the page layered. I try and tuck them under things and around things so that it kind of all fits into the page nicely and doesn't look like the afterthought that it was. I honestly hadn't planned to add any fabric to it, but I just sort of came across them and just sort of fell in love with how that peachy pinky kind of flower matched really nicely with the Don't Forget That Life Is Beautiful, the colour on there. It really looked good. So I was really pleased to have found it, because I think that it really actually pulled the whole page together just perfectly in the end. It was the exact thing that it needed, I think. And I think there's just one more little bit of fabric to go, and then that will be the end of this page. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. Please go and check out the other amazing creative people that are joining in with this hop. They are so worth watching. If you've enjoyed, I'd love it if you'd subscribe, leave a comment, whatever, and I will see you in my next video, guys. Bye!